That's not good. Okay, thought I had it fixed, but I don't. Okay, I'm having an interesting day with starters. Having this engine on the stand has actually been pretty educational and helpful because it's allowed me to address a lot of issues that we might not normally get into. I don't know if you can see, but right in here you can see where these are all shiny. That's where that starter that I've been using is kind of getting into the gears, but not really working them very well. It's managed to scar up its own little shaft and scar up that flywheel, which is a pretty nice flywheel. So I went to get one of my old starters, and this one is a regular Chevrolet starter that fits. It has a hole here and a hole here, just like that one has the two not triangular, but the two offset holes. This one over here is a Chevy starter. It has a hole here and a hole here, so these are in line. Now I should say that on that starter, the solenoid switch was smashed and broken. This part of the solenoid switch, which sits right up here, was broke off, and this whole part was broken. I pulled this one off thinking that I could put this one on that one over there, but this shaft is smaller, so this hole inside is smaller, so that won't work on that one over there. So I went up to the Napa store, and I actually went online and searched one out before I left for a 73 Chevy truck, which is what this engine came out of. And they gave me this one for 18 bucks, and it fits the hole, fits everything. So what I'm going to be doing is putting this one back on here, and to do that there's a bolt here and a bolt here, and then a long screw that goes through a brass connector here. My dad used to work on these, and I've seen him take these starters all apart and put them back together, including this part back here, which is something I thought about. On this starter, this back part fits, but that one don't over there, and that one over there, the back part of it is cracked. It has become broken during its life, but it may be that that back part would fit, and it may be that it wouldn't. But rather than go through all that, I went online, and when I found out I could get a new solenoid from Napa, I decided to go with that. They're usually pretty good around here. I know a lot of people have their favorite stores, but National Auto Parts is the one that I've been dealing with the longest, and they generally seem to me to be the store that's less likely to have, and I don't know what I'm going to how I'm going to say this, but you go in some stores and it's like they got a lot of shiny things, but they might not have what you want, or they might not even be able to figure out what you want. Like I went into a Car Quest the other day. Fellas in there did not know how to measure a fan belt. They were just completely clueless about that. But, you know, that is what it is. Where was I going with that? I was going to say something. Anyway, what I'm saying is National Auto Parts, to me, generally seems to be, you know, they're not as shiny of a store. Sometimes they're kind of nasty looking, like an old-fashioned store used to be, but they seems they generally have what I want them to have, which is important. You need a place that's got what you want if you're going to be able to find what you want. So anyway, there's a spring that comes off of this here, and it goes into here. It actually goes over that, and then this goes in like this, and you push it in and you turn it. I want to get this right. That has to go down in the shaft. So you push this in and you turn this, and there's a little wing sticking out back here that goes in the back of that. And then there is that little brass part that I was talking about. And there's two little screws that goes with that. So there's a little screw that's going to go right here. And there's one just like it that's going to go on the other side. And then there's a screw that goes up here, and this is the little brass thing that I was telling you about. And it goes, I'm going to bring you over here so you can see this. It goes between this point and this point, and I think what happens is when this gets fired, it throws this back to push this gear over here back into the flywheel, and at the same time it puts fire between this point and this point, and it does it through this little brass connection. So what I'm going to do is, maybe I should turn y'all a little bit on my crowded workbench here. I think I win the prize for the messiest workbench here. Y'all, or hopefully you can see. So this little piece goes between these 2 points here, like right there, and then this piece goes through that point there. It is going in there, and then it's got to thread into that piece down here once it goes through this thing. Now I should be able to, I don't twist this too hard because you can break these. That's probably how the last one got broke, because somebody twisted it too hard. I've got one wire that activates this thing. I'm not sure if it's that wire or that wire, but I know this is the big hot wire. It could probably be this one. So I can figure it out once I get it on there by touching it. So I'm just gonna pick this up, take it over to the car, get my bolts ready, and pull up. We'll wrestle it up onto there. And we'll see if that does a trick. Oh, the joint wire. That's a heavy piece of plunder right there. I think that one. Now this is a lot heavier starter. It's going to be a lot harder to reach up under there and put it on. That's one thing about these starters, they're heavy. I contacted the folks that sold me that other one. I said I wanted to send it back, and they said okay. So it's going back too. And for, you know, it may be that was kind of a cheap Chinese starter. I remember I had a nice little mini starter, and it had that different bolt pattern, and so I went back and ordered the other one. I might have made the mistake of ordering the cheaper one, which could very well explain why that didn't work. You know, sometimes you get what you pay for. That's probably what happened with me there. I probably got just what I paid for on that one. Not that much for it. But I do want one of those high torque mini starters. For one thing, it weighs less. It's always a lot easier if you go to change it, but also, boy, it's hard to hold this thing up in there and start that. Dang, that's just about whooping me. Good grief. Where's my hose right there? Ooh-wee. I'll even see what I'm doing, probably not. But I can't let this go to adjust your angle, so we're just going to go with what we got here. See if I get this started before I drop it. That hurts. broke this one like somebody broke that other one. Can you imagine how hard it is to do this under a car? And believe me, I've done a bunch of them. I tried laying under a car, picking one of these heavy mothers up, getting it up into place there. Okay, now I'll hook the hot wire up. We'll figure out which one of these other wires kicks it off. I was talking to Waylon Wire the other day, and he said he made a joke about watching video number 365 of the final engine thing, and you know, he's kind of poking fun at me of having so many different videos, but you know, everything like that radiator leak the other day, this starter issue, changing exhaust manifolds, all of that involves something that somebody might want to know how to do somewhere along the way. And I was talking to some of them old hot rod guys the other day about how all us old guys are dying off, and if somebody don't record some of this stuff, I mean, I started this channel to try to teach my boy how to work on cars and stuff, and I said, you know, if somebody don't record this stuff, whatever we used to know will be gone. We're gone. Now I'm gonna hit the starter. We'll see what she does. Hope for the best. Didn't do anything. Okay, what have I forgotten? What have I not hooked up? Oh, maybe that wire is the wrong wire. Maybe it's this wire on the other side over here. No, that's sending fire, but it ain't working. So I think what I might do is take this off and go over to the other side. Put it on that other pole, which is probably, I have to get off the chair and get down on the floor to see it. That's probably, yeah, it's right up underneath that there. Now I can see this does work with the switch, see there? So I think what's going to have to happen is I'm going to move this wire to over on the other side. Well, we may start it, we may not. You know, I spent most of the day, I was going to put water in this and adjust the valves. I think it might have got down to below freezing last night, so I may not. If it's real late in the day, I may want to wait till tomorrow to put water in it. Maybe if I brought y'all up in over here and stuck you up in there. See, what I'm doing is I'm attaching the wire to here, right there. I had it attached to this side and it didn't do anything. When I attached it over there, it worked. Now, this is how you jump start a car. Back in the old days when people used to steal cars, they'd get a hot wire to the coil and take a screwdriver or a pair of pliers and reach out here and touch those 2 points together, and that'd make the starter spin. I don't know if cars are still simple enough. Probably ain't. You know, back in the old days, cars were pretty simple. If you can find a hot wire, and sometimes you can do all that right under the dash. Not that I know anything about stealing cars, because you know I never steal a car in my life. Honest, I'm sticking with that story. No, I really didn't. I wouldn't have unless it had been stolen from me first. Let me just say that, because I've known of situations where someone steals a car and then someone has to go steal it back. Rusty Acres, I'm not calling no names here. I'm just saying I've heard of it happening before. But we ain't gonna talk about that. We don't talk about no illegalities out here in the world of YouTube. Okay. So I think now I can spin the motor over and then we can crank it if we want to. So hopefully I can spin it over without sparks flying and flywheels getting chewed up. things like that. Oh, she's running. All right, so it's tempting to try to mess around with timing, adjustments, and different things, but I don't want to. I don't want to start something that I'm not going to be finishing. And let's see what time it is now. Almost not too late, but I am cold, and I have been all over town messing around with this already today. So maybe I'll walk away from it for the moment, and then we'll come back later. And anyway, so I don't know if you learned anything from that or not, but you might get a starter like that won't work. One thing I noticed is that I had the timing pretty far forward. That may have been what was kind of kicking that starter, and that starter may not have been strong enough to turn it over anyway, and that's not necessarily a good thing. You want a starter, I mean, the whole idea of getting a kind of a high horsepower mini starter thing is that you get one stronger than the one from the factory. Well, if they don't sell you one that's stronger than the one from the factory, then you're not getting a good deal. So that's what I say. But that old Chevy starter will do the trick, and I can mess with it while I figure out what I want to do, because I would like one of those little mini starters on there at some point. But we'll go see what we can see online, then we'll take it from there. I love y'all whether you like it or not. If you don't like it, get a therapist, talk to them about it, you know. Or get an old car and work on that. They're cheaper than therapists, I think. See ya. I guess one more thing I ought to say is one of the reasons why I thought it was a good idea to go ahead and go to the store and get this starter working so I'd have a backup. And y'all may not have realized it, but when 63 Impala drove his 63 Impala out here from Washington, he had enough tools in the back of that to build a spare car. And that's why she had to put them helper springs on the back, because he had every tool and part and piece that was known to man in the back of that thing. And that's kind of the way you think when you got a car, especially an old car like this, is you want to have some backup parts so that you won't get stranded. Like if you driving along somewhere and the car peters out on you, and well, the starter goes bad, well, if you got another starter, you can just fling it on there. So I like having extra parts. Works good for me. So on that note, I'm gonna go in the house and clean up, maybe load some videos, and we'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow we'll pour a little water in this thing and fire her up, and we'll see how she goes from there. Love y'all. Bye.